Here is my review for Resident Alien Episode 4, entitled Birds of a Feather. There's a lot that goes on in this episode. This is very much a character-building episode, and there are many things that are revealed. We've got Vander Spiegel at the beginning. You find out he is starting to get a lot of human traits. He started to get them in the previous episode with learning how to sleep, and that he has to sleep, and having insomnia and worrying about all the things he has to do. Well, in this episode, he has a dream at the beginning that everything's great. He's high-fiving people on down the street. He's playing football with people. Things are good. And then he gets a package at home, and it ends up being the device he's looking for that is going to destroy humanity. And then he wakes up kind of in a panic. So he's starting to have nightmares and dreams. And you find out through this episode that he actually starts to have feelings. He ends up on the reservation with Asta and her dad, and they're there for her grandmother to give her grandmother a shot for some back problems that she's having. So they have to bring the doctor, Vander Spiegel, down there. When they're there, he actually reveals that Jay is actually Asta's daughter. And it just sends everything it gets very uncomfortable. Asta runs off. Her father's very curious. So there's lots of things that go on in this episode with people's feelings. And it's at this point where Vander Spiegel ends up playing basketball with some of the other Native Americans that are there. And he ends up realizing he has some feelings towards these humans, and that maybe they're not as bad as he thought they were. And he's starting to get those feelings. Now, at the same time, we have Max trying to get the upper hand on Vander Spiegel. It's revealed to him that his parents have invited Vander Spiegel over for dinner, and that sets him into kind of a spiral. And he befriends this girl at school, Sahar. And they devise a scheme that while he's there, they're going to try to gain access to his cabin to see what he's got. And they actually do end up getting there towards the end of the episode when he's gone, I think, on the reservation. And when they're there, they find his they see the device that he found from the hiker that could lift the hiker up, and there's an apple floating above it, and they go to touch it. Well, at the very end of the episode, you've got Vander Spiegel, who goes there and finds the kids sick. They're sick from that device. They're in the corner, passed out. And he's like, there's some comedy in that scene, because he's thinking he can go ahead and kill them at that stage and get rid of the bodies and nobody would ever know. So he puts them in a duffel bag, and he's carrying these duffel bags out into the living room. And that's when a woman knocks on the door and opens it. And he's like, "What's going on?" She's like, "Well, I'm still your wife, aren't I?" And that's how the episode kind of ends. There's also some interesting things we find out in this episode. Max's parents actually have Darcy and Vander Spiegel over for dinner. He actually asked Asta if she could go, and she couldn't. So he goes with Darcy, the bartender. And when you're there, you find out Max's dad had actually dated Darcy in I think it was high school. And so they know each other quite well, which led to some pretty comedic moments in that particular scene. We're finding some stuff out about the history of these characters and what happened in their past, and what that's going to lead to in the future. So there's a quick review and a recap on episode 4, Birds of a Feather. There's a lot more coming up. We're going to find out in episode 5 what the deal is with Vander Spiegel's wife. So we'll find that out in the next review. We'll see you guys on the next one. If you like the video, please hit the like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell. You will be notified when new videos go up.